Hello vinyl community, how you doing? It's Bill with the Vinyl. So every June, my family, we take a trip down to Charlotte, North Carolina to visit with my wife's sister and her family. And when we go down there, I try to hit up some of the record stores there. And as I've done before, I met up with Jon, the digital gramophone, and Dave, the VC ambassador, formerly Local Bandography. And we got to have dinner and go to a couple record stores. And I also got to dig on my own. Basically had an afternoon of digging, and I met up with those guys for dinner and some more record digging. So I thought I'd come here and show what I picked up during that day. And then also, really special, met up with Kris and his wife Marissa from Dixieland Farm. Bucket list item for me. So met up with Kris, got to tour the farm a little bit, took the family. The kids had a great time seeing the horses and checking out the farm. So a little bit of that visit also towards the end of this video. But so like I said, I went to some record stores, did some digging, 4 total that day, and I'll go through each one and what I grabbed there. And I'll do my best to keep this video as short as possible because there's a lot to get through. First stop was some great North Carolina barbecue. So stopped for some barbecue, then I right down the road basically was Repo Records. So had a great barbecue lunch, went to Repo Records. Dylan wasn't in the shop. I know most weekdays he's typically not there, but I've met Dylan a couple times before and got to hang out with him. So bummer that he wasn't there, but still I spent a good little bit of time in Repo Records and came away with 6 albums. So first, this was actually on my want list. One I've been looking for and really happy to have found it. It is Steve Hillage, Fish Rising, his album from 1975, I believe. Yeah, 1975. Terrific album, Steve Hillage, the great guitarist. Yeah, so this was a want and found a really nice copy at Repo Records. There's that. So I should say Steve Hillage, formerly in Gong. So this is kind of prog rock. Really good, really great album. Really happy to have it in the collection. Next is Airto Moreira and his Promises of the Sun album. So this is some like Latin jazz, Latin fusion type stuff. Nice clean copy of this. Pretty cheap too, which was really nice. So happy to add this one in. And next, so you're going to see this gentleman quite a few times in what I picked up this day. But I found Bill Bruford, Masterstrokes, 1978 to 1985. So the great drummer, my favorite drummer, Bill Bruford. This is a compilation of some of his albums, and even though I had several of his albums, and you'll see I still wanted this in the collection. Really great, and I just love the cover too. So I've had this on CD probably since it came out, but as I've mentioned before, my CDs are boxed away, So thrilled to have picked this up. And this is one of the few albums that I've actually listened to all the way through since I brought them home. So Bill Bruford, Masterstrokes, 1978 to 1985. Really great stuff. So speaking of Bill Bruford, here is his album, Gradually Going Tornado, and the band Bruford. So this came out in 1980, and on here is Bill Bruford on drums, Dave Stewart on keyboards, Jeff Berlin on bass, great bassist Jeff Berlin, and the unknown John Clark on guitar. So formerly in the band Bruford was Alan Holdsworth on guitar. He left, John Clark came in. So Gradually Going Tornado. Yeah, happy to get that. Next is PFM, so Premiata Fornaria Marconi, and their album Photos of Ghosts from 1972, so some Italian prog here. PFM. Didn't have this, so really nice copy here, again for pretty cheap, so great find. And another big one from my want list, and this is Tangerine Dream and their soundtrack to the movie, the film Sorcerer from 1978, 77. So I had never been able to find a copy of this, and sure enough, Dylan had a copy there, so I snatched it up right away. And it's got a corner cut here. That's all right though. So really, if you've never seen the movie Sorcerer, it is an intense, really intense movie. And the music is great, so thrilled to have found this there, and getting this album completes my 1970s Tangerine Dream collection from their other releases on vinyl from the 70s, which is kind of cool. Tangerine Dream, one of my favorite artists. Okay, so from Noble Records, I took about a 15-20 minute drive to Repo Records, and spent a little time in there and picked up a few things. First thing I found was Nectar and their album Recycled from 1975. Pretty cool pickup. Nectar, great prog band out of England, but they mostly resided in Germany, so I kind of consider them German prog, even though they're a British band. But very, very cool album, Recycled. Great artwork, as most of the Nectar albums have. Love the artwork. So cool find there. And now you're gonna see this duo and artist come up again throughout what I show here. But I found two albums at Repo Records from Jon and Vangelis. This is Private Collection. This came out in 1983. So John Anderson of the band Yes, and then of course Vangelis. They put out, they worked together for quite a while actually, and put out some albums. So this is Private Collection for 1983. It's a promo copy there. It's a nice promo copy. But not only did I find Private Collection, but also Jon and Vangelis short stories from, what year was this one? So at 1979. So cool to get these two, and these were very, very cheap pickups, so thrilled for that. So found those there. And then I had been in Repo Records before, and I never noticed that they had these kind of like drawer cabinets filled with singles. So I managed to find 4 singles, a couple of which, well, 3 of which are going into the 80s singles vault, which I will be getting back to that series very, very soon. It's been on hiatus for quite some time. But the first thing, first cool thing I found there was I'm a big fan of the Monkees, and this is their single DW Washburn, backed with It's Nice to Be With You. So cool picture sleeve there. It's on the Coal Gems label. So pretty cool pickup. Continuing on, the next 3 are all 80s singles, and like I said, they're going into the 80s singles vault. So hopefully at some point I'll be able to showcase them in an episode of the 80s singles vault. First, and actually I think this was the first single I found when I was digging the singles at Repo. It's Berlin and the Metro, the nice picture sleeve there. Back with World of Smiles. There's the Geffen label. So a pretty cool track, the Metro, classic 80s. Then found a copy of Duran Duran's A View to a Kill from the Bond movie A View to a Kill. Back with A View to a Kill, That Fatal Kiss by John Barry, who did the soundtrack. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, didn't have this, but it's Phil Collins, Another Day in Paradise, back with Heat on the Street. So cool to grab that as well. And that's what I picked up at Repo Records. So then a short distance from Repo Records, I took a drive to Lunchbox Records, and that's where I met up with Jon, the digital gramophone, and Dave, the VC ambassador, showed up a little, I don't know, maybe 10-15 minutes later after Jon and me met there. So picked up a few things from there. It was a fun dig with Jon and Dave. As a matter of fact, before we had gotten there, Dave told me he was scouting some stuff for me. But it was good. Yeah, it was very, very cool to be record digging with friends. It's not something I get to do hardly ever anyway. So a very, very cool pickup here that I found, and then subsequently after, when Dave showed up and he saw that I had it, he's like, I was gonna give that to you, put that in your hands. So shocked to see this, because a little while back the experimental vinyl tag was going around, and Carm over at the channel Gorvo 31 showed this in his experimental vinyl tag. So that stuck up here. But anyway, I was shocked to see this. And this is the Wind Harp Song from the Hill. So, like I said, stunned to see this. So this record's the one I paid the most for out of all of these. But there was no way I was going to let it sit there. And when I took it to the counter, the the guy there was, he said to me, "I can't believe you just picked that up. I was going to take that home tonight." He was going to buy it. So Dave was going to put this in my hands, and the guy behind the counter was going to buy it. So cool that I found this at Lunchbox Records. Thanks, Carm, for showing this record, and it's in my collection now. So thank you, Lunchbox Records. Very cool. So next, at Lunchbox, I found Jon and Vangelis, the Friends of Mr. Cairo, from 1981. So one of their best. I didn't have it, so very cool to grab this. And either Jon or Dave actually found this for me. I was on the one side, they were across on the other side, and I think it was Jon, and he was pulling albums out and showing me, and he showed me this. So yeah, thrilled to have that. And then last but not least, at Lunchbox, Jon also pulled this out for me. Found it, Vangelis, Opera Sauvage. Not positive if that's how you pronounce it, but great album by Vangelis, and really happy to add it to the collection. So from Lunchbox, we went and had some dinner at a place called Loopy's Cafe, which really cool place. So we had some dinner and found our way over to Tip Top Daily Market, which has premium sound attached to it, and did some more record digging there. And I came home with several other things. Starting with a really cool find, very, very cheap, blind buy, and I'm really happy that I picked it up. This is Percussion by William Kraft. So this is classical, but mostly just percussion, and it's great. Yeah, the percussion is the focus, and cheap album, and really great pickup. First track is Triangles for percussion, soloist, and chamber orchestra. I believe that takes up all of side one. Then Momentum for 8 percussionists, and then finally Theme and Variations for 4 percussionists. So very, very cool album. Really happy that I grabbed this one. Really, really great. Then I found, haven't listened to this yet, but it's Michael Hedges, Breakfast in the Field. So Michael Hedges, this is on Windham Hill. Michael Hedges was a Windham Hill artist, guitar virtuoso, taken away from us way too young. But I don't know this album. I have several other Michael Hedges CDs. Actually saw him live twice and got to meet him one time. But it doesn't say there's any vocals on this, which I'm hoping there's not. I'm hoping it's all instrumental. So it should be ambient, more in the new age way. So this came out in 1981, and it has Michael Hedges on guitar, Michael Manring on fretless bass, and George Winston on piano. So cool find there. And then we go back to Mr. Bill Bruford and his Feels Good to Me album from, this is 1977. So cool Bruford album here. This one actually has Annette Peacock on it, who I've shown a handful of times on my channel. Love Annette Peacock, so she kind of brings her avant-garde style of singing to the prog fusion jazz influenced Bruford band, which has Bill Bruford on drums, Dave Stewart on keyboards, Alan Holdsworth on guitar, Jeff Berlin on bass, and Kenny Wheeler also makes an appearance on this album on the flugelhorn. And then, of course, Annette Peacock on vocals. And then the last thing I picked up from Premium Sound is another Vangelis record, and this is Direct from 1988, it looks like. So another one I didn't have. So great to add another Vangelis classic into the collection. This is also a gold stamp promo copy there. So that is everything I picked up from those 4 shops, and it was a great day. Great to be with Jon and Dave. Love seeing those guys. Cool to be back at Repo Records. A shame Dylan wasn't there, but cool to be there nonetheless. So that was that day. And then the following day, I mentioned me and my family drove out to see Kris over at Dixieland Farm. So been trying to get to see Kris for several years now. It just hadn't worked out in the past. But I wanted to make sure that it happened this time. And it was very, very hot in Charlotte last week when we were there. And even Kris was like, "Are you sure all the horses are put away in the stables?" Because it's so hot, so they're not taking them out to the rings for training and stuff like that. So yeah, we were like, yeah, we still want to come, and really happy we did. My kids really enjoyed it. My wife enjoyed it. We're still talking about it. So Kris, thank you once again for your hospitality and having us and showing us around. Getting the kids close to the horses was a lot of fun. And before we left, I got to go inside of Kris's house, where you see in his videos. Got to meet his dogs, Ella and Walt. Oh, and of course, Marissa was there, and we were, talking with Kris and Marissa outside. So yeah, very, very cool to be in there. And Kris did not let me walk away without any albums. So he has a bin of giveaway albums, I guess, or albums that he's pulling out of the collection. So before we left, got to go inside of Kris's house and see, saw where he makes his videos. Got to meet his dogs, Ella and Walt. My son Will really enjoyed spending time with those two. He was having a full-on conversation with them. It was funny. So before we left, Kris did not let me walk out empty-handed. He has a crate of records off to the side, and he said, "This is my kind of giveaway pile. If there's anything in there you want, take it." So I looked through it, of course, and I found Donald Byrd Blackbird, which I did not have, so took it off of Kris's hands. So thank you, Kris. And I also found I'm a Sucker for ABBA, and their Voulez-Vous album from 1979. I think I mentioned to Kris that I had found this album once before. I mean, I had a local store here. I picked it up there, but I made, broke rule number 1, and I didn't actually look at the record. It was in a thrift store type of place, and it was ABBA's Greatest Hits, I think, not Voulez-Vous. So I had the cover, but not the album. So Kris gave this to me from his giveaway pile. And then he started pulling records out of another crate. And he's like, here, have this, have this, have that. So I grabbed 2 more from him. This is pretty cool. This is Renaissance Prologue. I think this is their 3rd album. And if I remember correctly, it's the first one with Annie Haslam as the singer from 1972. So I did not have this, so very cool to have. And then last but not least, I've never owned this album, but it's Alan Parsons' Project Eve from 1979. So I do like Alan Parsons. I don't think Kris is too crazy about this album, but it's cool to have it, and especially since it was Kris's and he gave it to me. So Kris, thanks for the VCLT here, the 4 records. Really appreciate it. And it was great to visit with you and Marissa and see the horses and the farm. And my family had a great time. And we played on being back next time we're in town, if you'll have us. So everyone, that's what I picked up while I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. So thanks for sticking through this video. And yeah, I'll be back again soon. Take care now. Bye.